And to discuss more, we're also being joined by Dr. Mir Javed Anfar. He's a lecturer of Iranian politics at Reichman University in Israel. Thank you so much, Dr. Javed Anfar, for joining us on the broadcast. Now, we'd like to understand from you what is the situation like right now, and just the latest details that you can get us.
Sure. I'm speaking with you from Tel Aviv in Israel. This morning we were woken by sirens in order to prepare the country for the ongoing war, which started this morning. Schools have been cancelled. All public gatherings have been cancelled. The Air Force has attacked targets in my native city of Tehran. From what we understand, as your reporter also said, there have been a number of important political targets that have been attacked, including the office of the Supreme Leader of Iran. Of course, these have yet to be confirmed, but many Iranians are uploading photos that showing that there have been targets in Tehran that have been struck. There are even some pictures of aircraft, F-15 aircraft, that are flying over Tehran at quite a low altitude. These were filmed. So the war has started. The state of Israel has stated that this is a preventative war, probably because of Iran's missiles that could be launched against the state of Israel. But yes, we are in a state of emergency, and a new war against the Iranian regime has started.
Right, Dr. Javed Anfar. Now, we know that the launch, it has come hours after US President Donald Trump said that he was not happy with Iran talks and that a big decision was to be made. Now, having said that, Trump talked about a limited strike. What do you think is going to be the nature of that strike? Because we understand that Israel has termed it as preemptive. What can we expect next?
I think what we are likely to see is a wave of attacks by the Israeli Air Force. And from what I understand, also the Americans have joined in, although it has to be confirmed yet. There will be targets, specific targets in Tehran that are sensitive, that are important for the management of Iran's security apparatus. They are likely going to be attacked. This includes political figures, military figures, and I think that Israel's focus is going to be attacking Iranian missile production lines. This is a major threat to the state of Israel. During the last 12-day war in June 2025, the state of Israel did not have enough time to completely destroy the production lines of Iran's missile program. And since then, the Islamic Republic has been rebuilding them. So I believe that this is going to be one of the major targets of this attack. We have to remember also that one of the consequences of the 12-day war was that Israel not completely, but it destroyed a great percentage of Iran's anti-aircraft systems. So this is something that will enable the Israeli and the American Air Force to carry out their missions over the skies of Iran against the targets until they decide that this war has achieved its target and they can finish it.
Right, and Dr. Javed Anfar, people were expecting that. They were expecting, well, that there may be an attack by the United States. Donald Trump has been talking about it, and the military buildup was pointing in that direction. But most people expected some sort of US action. But here is the surprise that Israel has gone first. What do you think is the reason behind this?
I think it's always good to surprise your enemy. The element of surprise won Israel the 12-day war in 2025. It won Israel the 6-day war. The element of surprise is one of the most important winning cards in any war, and this is they're using it again. And I think probably the Iranians were waiting for a U.S. strike, and they were looking at it is possible that they believed that Israel would not attack without the U.S. opening the war, but it seems that they've been surprised that Israel will use this surprise to its advantage in order to reach the target that it wants to destroy in Iran.
Right, and Dr. Javed Anfar, in view of the prevailing security situation in the region, now for all our viewers, all Indian nationals in Israel have been advised to exercise utmost caution and remain vigilant at all times. Now, in the advisory, the Indian nationals are strongly advised to strictly adhere to the safety guidelines and instructions issued by the Israeli authorities and the Home Front Command. Updated instructions will be accessed on the official website. Now, all Indian nationals should remain in close proximity to designated shelters and familiarize themselves with the nearest protected spaces in the area of residence or work. Indian nationals are also advised to avoid all non-essential and unnecessary travel within Israel until further notice. And citizens are also encouraged to monitor local news, official announcements and emergency alerts regularly. Now, having said all of that, Dr. Javed Anfar, let me come back to you. And of course, we understand that a lot pegs on Iran's response at this point. And this is not a surprise attack in many ways because the sides were in their own ways preparing for a situation like this. Now, how do you anticipate Iran responding to these attacks?
I think it is very possible, almost definite, that there's going to be missile attacks from the Islamic Republic of Iran towards targets in Israel. And it is going to be their major weapon that they will use against the state of Israel in the coming days. And this is why the Israeli government has closed all the schools in the state of Israel for the foreseeable future. And yes, we are expecting missile attacks from Iran, and it's the missiles that worry Israel the most and always have. And I think this is one of the reasons why they call this a preemptive strike, because Iran's missiles pose a major threat to the state of Israel, especially if the Iranians would have succeeded in opening new production lines in Iran for the missiles, because we have anti-missile systems, but the number of missiles that the Iranians were proposing to produce, they would have enabled them to fire tens of missiles, 50, 60 to one point, to a single target. And our anti-missile system perhaps would be able to eliminate 10, 20, 30, but it would not be able to eliminate all of them, thus allowing the Iranians to punch through our anti-missile system and cause significant damage to Israelis.
Right, Dr. Javed Anfar. And of course, in light of the prevailing security situation in the region and all security, how the situation has unfolded, all Indian nationals in Israel have been advised to exercise utmost caution and remain vigilant at all times. And according to the advisory, the Indian nationals are strongly advised to strictly adhere to the safety guidelines and the instructions which are issued by the Israeli authorities and the Home Front Command. All the updated instructions will be accessed on the official website. All Indian nationals should remain in close proximity to designated shelters and familiarize themselves with the nearest protected spaces in the area of residence or the areas of their work. Well, they're also advised to avoid all non-essential and unnecessary travel within Israel until further notice. Citizens are encouraged to monitor local news and official announcements along with any emergency alerts regularly. Well, Dr. Javed Anfar, this is after several rounds of negotiations that this has taken place. And Israeli security sources are saying that Israel and the United States have assessed in the past 24 hours that there was no path to negotiations. And now that is followed by the attack. Do you agree with that assessment?
It seems that what the Iranians offered the Americans was in no way sufficient. And they didn't want to sit there and continuously negotiate with Iran without any purpose. And I think the other angle is what we have to look at is what's happening inside Iran. Iranian people are very patriotic. They don't like, just like Indian people or any other nationality, they don't like their country being attacked by a foreign power. But because of the recent massacre, unprecedented massacre of Iranians, which according to President Trump was 32,000 Iranians killed in the space of a couple of days by the regime, many people in Iran want foreign governments to launch military attack against the regime that has massacred them. And I think this is another reason why the Americans did not want to wait too long, because they believe they have the people of Iran on their side, and they're going to support such an attack against the regime. And who knows, maybe we will see an uprising against the regime after the end of the war. This is something that we have to wait and see.
Of course, now just to get our viewers up to speed with all the latest developments, explosions have been reportedly heard in Iran's capital city, Tehran, this morning as Israel confirmed that it launched attacks on Iran and sirens were sounded across Israel as well. This was as the military said that a proactive alert to prepare the public for the possibility of missiles being launched towards the state of Israel. Now, US officials have said that Washington participated in the strikes on Iran. The launch comes hours after US President Donald Trump said that he was not happy with Iran talks and that a big decision was to be made. Now, we understand what the big decision was, and Oman's Foreign Minister, Badr al-Busaidi, who is mediating the talks between Tehran and Washington, has said that a deal between the two sides is not within reach now, of course. And the US President Trump on Friday had said that the US has a big decision to make after talks between Washington and Tehran ended on Thursday without a definitive conclusion. Trump's remark comes as a deadline for Iran to reach a deal with the US on its nuclear program, as it's nearing its end in a few days. Nonetheless, the stalemate continues despite the progress in talks in Geneva that were held on Thursday. Now, while all of this was happening in the background, the latest attack today, of course, it's raised a lot of questions. Now, Dr. Javed Anwar, I would just like to understand from you, how do you anticipate, the situation escalating from here on? Are we going to see a repeat of what we saw in June, or perhaps the calculus has also changed this time?
To be a repeat of the scenario. I think there's going to be something, but this time because the Americans are attacking, the amount of force that will be used against Iran is going to be much stronger, much bigger.